Jackson on the drive, kicks it out for Man. Man, three-pointer, bang! Oh, what a man!
Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12, good!
Here's Michael at the foul line, a shot on Elo, good! The Bulls win! They win it!
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in.
Going up over Bell, ball away. Yes! Yes! At the buzzer, he does it! Was there ever a doubt? A Smith screen, Posey will defend. Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life.
It's a physical game. Oh, man, oh, God. A monster jam by Blake Griffin.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Dime Dropper for an emergency episode. Kyrie Irving has been traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube at Dime Dropper. Make sure to turn on the notification bell for whenever we go live. Of course, this episode also can be found on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And, of course, to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Dime Dropper Pod. For today's episode, bringing on a special guest, somebody who I've asked to come on a couple times, but the scheduling has never really worked out. He has developed a decent, to say the least, following of Nets fans on his social media accounts. Caleb from Brooklyn Netcast here to talk to us about oh man, I don't even want to get into it. But Caleb, welcome to Dime Dropper, man. Appreciate the love as always.
Hey, thank you for having me on, man. I've wanted to be on for what? We've been trying to plan this for like 8 months on and off. We got to make it a consistent thing. It's a great duo. It's like KD and Kyrie.
Oh man, would that be considered a great duo?
No, but not right now. I guess not. No, more like how about we say Blake Griffin and Chris Paul? Yeah,
we'll take that.
We can take that. I think that's good.
So Brooklyn, man. So a lot to get to, man. Kyrie Irving. Let me just ask you this before we get started. You know, this offseason was a really weird one. We thought for a second Kyrie was going to get traded. And then he opted in, was going to play out the year with KD, or at least we thought. KD then requests a trade. That got everything going crazy. And then ultimately your front office won out, and KD was staying put. They couldn't find a good offer or an offer that they liked. And you guys start the season, fire Steve Nash, and started to play really good basketball with Jacques Vaughn. Before we get into the Kyrie Irving trade, let me know what you think of the Nets season so far, the basketball you guys have been playing. You're currently at the 4th seed. You know, I think that's part of why this kind of was so shocking everybody and how it happened so quick, that the Nets were finally looking like their best versions of the regular season in the 7-11 era, not counting that, you know, time with James Harden where he was hooping in the regular season.
Yeah. It's been such a fun season, really, between Kyrie and KD. I mean, Kyrie in the fourth quarters, you know, dominating, having a great stretch of play without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant being himself. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. He looked like the best version of himself again this season. It's like he gets better every year. It makes no sense. Every year he looks better. So, you know, that was always fun. Nick Claxton breaking out and becoming a DPOY candidate, currently second. Should be first. He doesn't fake his stats, actually. And just overall, the role players just stepping up. Like Steph having a really good game against the Clippers and absolutely killing them. And then, Yuta Watanabe being, you know, the best Chinese player in all of basketball. So,
is he Japanese?
Japanese shit. You didn't hear that. Damn.
The Yao Ming stands are going to come at you for that one.
Yeah, that's my bad. That was it's a bit different. But yeah.
So,
fun.
You feel good about Ben Simmons? Let's hear about Ben Simmons and Jacques Vaughn.
Okay. So it's weird with Ben because he started off bad. Then he had a stretch of like 8 games where he looked amazing. He was averaging like 17, 9, and 8 or something, 17, 8, and 8.
Wow.
Like 86% from the field or something crazy, and was playing good defense. And then he had the knee injury, and then he was out for like 4 games, and they came back and didn't look the same. And now he's hurt again. People say he's faking it. I don't really, know where to stand on that. I personally don't think he's faking it. I understand, he's had a few flare-ups this season with the exact same knee. So I'm kind of, iffy on that. And then we have Cam Thomas having some of these just nuclear games. He's had like 8 or 9 of them this season, where it's just kind of like, I'm better than you. I'm going to cook you one-on-one and, have 44 last night off the bench.
Wow.
Beautiful. I mean,
Definitely something to watch as we play you guys. That's actually funny that we're doing this video and the Clippers and Nets are playing each other.
Oh, I didn't think about that. They play tomorrow.
Yeah, that's actually funny. Very
7:30.
coincidental. But
Oh,
okay, so it sounds like you're pretty pleased. So before you hear the trade request, you're thinking to yourself, all we need is KD back and right in the hunt, right?
yeah. Other than that, I thought we needed like a Nas Reed. But other than that, yeah.
Backup big, right? The same thing as Clipper fans. You guys want to back up big. We want to back up big because I'm guessing without Claxton, you guys crumble, right?
Without Claxton, we do crumble defensively.
Yeah, without Zubac, we crumble too.
But I will say we crumble now without Kevin Durant being.
Well, that's obvious.
Well, defensively, I'm saying not even
Okay.
offensively. It's defensively without KD and without Clax on the floor and without Ben, because all three, haven't been like those two haven't been playing. Clax hasn't been, been able to stay on the floor for 48 minutes. Yeah, it does look bad defensively for some stretches.
So you're feeling pretty good. What's funny is a lot of Knicks fans and like people around New York that I talked to were like, this was doomed from the start. The Nets had no chance heading into this season. I personally don't feel that way. I think that after Jacques Vaughn became your coach, I think you should have as much belief as other teams, like the Philadelphia 76ers or these kind of teams, because we've seen Kyrie win as a number 2 option. We still haven't seen KD be that clear-cut number 1, but this is what the challenge was for him in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And now we hear the trade request that Kyrie wanted to be moved. Let me just hear, man, you're a pretty big Kyrie Irving defender. Even when everybody was going at him last season, you stuck by the guy. Tell me what you thought about his trade request. Did you feel betrayed? Did you think it was out of nowhere? And what did it just make you feel like emotionally as a fan?
Well, I thought I understood the business aspect behind it. I did. Like, he wanted to be paid. He wanted to, feel appreciated almost by the front office and not like he couldn't trust ownership, couldn't trust management. And that's not a fun way to play out a contract and go into the offseason like, oh, I don't even trust the guys that I need to pay me. I don't. So I understood it totally. And I still do. I get it. And there's definitely some ethical differences between Joe Tsai and Kyrie Irving. And they're also justified from, Kyrie. And I'm not going to sit up here and like totally defend him because, he in his own, there's reasons not to trust him. I've said that. Like, I get why you get nervous paying him long-term money guaranteed because he does have problems staying on the floor. It's fine. Like, we can all admit it. But it just wasn't handled perfectly in the front office, and GM Sean Marks and Joe Tsai knowingly have big egos and have had problems with a multitude of other players. So that's where I kind of like eased up on a little bit too. It was like, okay, so he's not the only player that had problems with the front office. I mean, I had old Nets players liking and retweeting shit about Joe Tsai and Sean Marks being incompetent and not being good at what they do. So like, I think that was another thing. Like, old Nets players agreed, and current ones did. Obviously, with like KD, Kyrie, even like there was little things about other role players I really can't say too much about that weren't too happy with those two. So like, it's like, when you really dive deep into it, you get what happened and why it happened. And of course, I'm upset that like Kyrie's gone. Like, you wish you could play the season out with him, have him for 4 more years, and play some beautiful basketball. But I do get it. So I'm not like totally mad at him. Makes sense. It does.
So do you think what do you think the Nets front office should have done? Did he wanted to be, so from what I know, did he want the 2-year or did he want to just have a guaranteed when this season, then I'm going to sign a new 4-year deal with you guys?
He wanted a guaranteed 4-year, which I get why the Nets also had some hesitancy paying him, but it is situational where the Nets don't have their own draft capital. So for me, it was kind of more of a no-brainer. Like, so you go to the bottom of the barrel team with no draft picks, or, you feel iffy about paying Kyrie, but at least you have him. So like,
right. Like, and that means you have Kevin Durant. That's the thing.
That's kind of what I was getting at. It's like, you know what are we going to do without him? So like, keep him, pay him the 4 years, feel uneasy about it. But you do have both of them. So at least you're not bottom of the barrel team.
You always have a contender's shot with KD and Kyrie. You do have a shot.
KD alone. That's kind of how I feel about Kevin Durant,
Well, championship contention, though? Do you think you win
there's got to be stuff done. But I'm saying as a whole, like, you'll make the playoffs and you'll, for the most part, and you'll do some things. If you have a good complementary pieces in Kevin Durant, for the most part. Obviously, last season did not work out. But, I mean, we didn't have complementary pieces. It was Bruce Brown was our third best player. And I love Bruce, but
Yeah, and you just didn't have, I mean, Kyrie on the court very much. It's very hard to develop. You had so much going on.
Yeah.
James Harden being traded, all that. So, okay, let me ask you this. You say you had some hesitancy. I totally agree with you. I think that the Nets should have paid him because you don't have much. You traded the future away with that Harden trade, right?
Yes, that's kind of what my point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
so I think they should have paid him. Yeah, go ahead.
If they had their picks, I get it. Then I'm like, oh yeah, we have all your draft capital. You can build for the future. I get it. Like it makes sense. Yeah, I get what not paying him. You have a ton of stuff to work with in the future. You could build up this roster each year with draft picks. It makes a lot of sense not to pay him, but you don't. We have other teams' picks, but not our own, so it doesn't really matter what. Yeah.
So, and you also said you get the hesitancy from them. It's definitely not an easy choice because Kyrie Irving, the basketball player without like the baggage, is definitely worth a max contract in today's market. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But the first year, not the first year, the second year, the first year of the KD 7-11 was when he took time off randomly and people didn't know where he was at. Then he showed up in focus groups. Then last year, you had the vaccine thing. So I understand that they don't trust him. They clearly don't trust him, and he feels a little betrayed. Not a little betrayed, very betrayed. Now let me ask you this, man. From the fan perspective, do you feel like Kyrie walked down on you guys and Kevin Durant by not playing out the season? Because at the end of the day, he could have just left for free. You can say he kind of did the Nets a favor in ways that you guys got something out of him, but do you wish that maybe he just said, you know what, fuck the management. I'm going to leave in the offseason, but I'm still going to finish the season out with my brother and the Nets fans?
Of course, to some extent, yeah. You would be like, oh, it would have been nice to have him, to keep him for the rest of the season and play this out and see how it rides. Nice phone call. No, it's fine. We'll live. But, it didn't happen. You wish, to some extent, he would have stayed. Yes, and, not been traded, not wanted out, and just played it out and just said, I'm going to put my head down and get it done. But with how the contract was, how his market value was fluctuating, it's just he's in a very different scenario than almost everybody else, essentially. So he's kind of, you can't compare it but James Harden did this, or this X star did this. It's just very different with him because he's a very unique person and player and was in a really weird relationship with front office and himself. So I get it. But of course you feel a little bit upset about it. Yeah.
Do you feel bad for Kevin Durant?
Bad for Kevin Durant?
Yeah. I mean, he did pick Kyrie Irving to be his co-star, but I don't think that let's be honest, man. Your guys' championship chances for this season, I think, ended today. That's just my opinion.
I think they end mattering on Thursday. That's kind of where I'm at. I want to
see depending on if you guys make. Do you think you're going to get a second star at the deadline, though?
Who do we qualify as a star? This is kind of where.
Throw some names at me, and I'll tell you.
Is OG a star? Because the Nets
did call him a great role player, but you guys got Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, he's a great role player.
So that's kind of my thing. Is I don't know. The Nets. The first thing they did after they traded Kyrie was call Toronto, which I just kind of found there's the whole roster's up for fire sale, I guess. So you don't really know if it's Van Vliet.
Van Vliet would make you good. I just think that he's not a second best player on a championship.
Oh, I agree.
I think being a second best player on a championship team is very difficult. I think those players that have done that in NBA history deserve a lot more credit than they get.
Oh, absolutely.
Including Kyrie Irving, for that matter.
Well, I guess there is a few, carried by one guy kind of things. But, yeah, relatively speaking, of course, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you can't bank on 2011 Dirk or 94 Hakeem. It's just a lot.
Yeah. Especially 94 Hakeem. I'm sorry. He's that's the best. Good Lord. I love Hakeem, by the way. Favorite center of all time by far.
There we go.
Have to.
Give us your Nets, by the way, before we keep going, give us your Nets fandom background. I always ask people when they come on the show to give us Nets fandom because you seem very optimistic. I get the sense, especially because as a Clipper fan, we're all internal optimists that us that have been when you were first, I don't know how long you been a Nets fan now, 10 years, 12 years?
Oh, 10, 11.
I think when I got to 15 plus is when I started becoming gets annoyed easier.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. I mean, I've been a Bills fan for my whole life. And yes, I get much more annoyed with the Bills than I do the Nets still. I think it has more to do with that. For reference, I live in Buffalo. So there's a lot more, people around me that are also annoyed when we lose. So, give or take, that does factor into it a bit more. But my neighbor, actually, my best friend, Mike, I've known him a long time now. His family was, new family in the block from New York City, 11 years ago. And they had a Brooklyn Nets flag hanging from their the front of their house, which was just, weird at the time because nobody cares about basketball in Buffalo, relatively speaking. And we just became really good friends. He's like, "You want to go to Toronto and watch a Brooklyn Nets game?" I'm like, "I don't really like basketball, but I'll do it."
This is when, like 2012?
2012. Yeah, sounds
Are they
right.
the New Jersey Nets here or the Brooklyn Nets?
I think they were still New. I think it was New Jersey actually. So it would have been 2012. They were in New Jersey still. But yeah, we went to Toronto, watched the game, and after that, I was like, I'm hooked. Yeah, I'm hooked. So ever since then, I've been a big Nets fan. It's very weird though. No one around here is Nets fans. My friends moved away. But
so your friend made you your friend got you into the Nets.
Yes, I didn't. I hated basketball.
Wow, that's interesting. He friend got you into basketball and the Nets all in one.
Yes, and now that's basketball is my big thing. Obviously, just like you, like I fucking love basketball, and Nets are they've supplied me with great opportunities now. I mean, they brought me to Brooklyn and gave me box seats and everything stuff like that. Like it's been like life changing. So truly, like I owe it all to him. Like it's been awesome, and I just
What's your main platform, by the way? I will plug you at the end, but like, what's the platform
Twitter.
that you say? Twitter.
I mean, Twitter by far. Got some cool people on there too.
Definitely.
A few friends I've made from there. Few, I'll tell you who after the real cool one, but I can't remember what to say right now. But it's pretty awesome.
Let's keep going though. So, yeah, man, it's very tough. At the end of the day, this 7-11 era has now come to an end after 3.5 years. It really felt like 2.5 years because KD missed the whole first season.
It felt like 1.5, honestly.
What'd you say?
It felt like 1.5, honestly, for an account and everything else too, injuries and stuff off the court. It felt like maybe 1.5 years. Like it just went by like snap of a finger.
I know, man. It's insane. You had chapter 1, no KD. We have a pandemic. Chapter 2, trade for Harden, and then get injured after actually looking like you could win the championship. Chapter 3, Kyrie vaccine, Harden gets traded, and now chapter 4, off-season drama, and now Kyrie gets traded. Yeah. It's literally like you couldn't. I've said it on Twitter today, man. You couldn't have scripted it to be this chaotic. I feel sorry for you fans, honestly, man. I really do feel sorry for the fans because the one thing that I enjoyed about that duo coming to Brooklyn was a franchise like mine, who's secondary in their market, has a chance to win the championship with these players that, we've watched for years dominate around the league with OKC, with KD. I mean, I've been watching this guy since I was like an 8-year-old kid dominating. I've been watching Kawhi since I was like 12, like just, ascend into this. And now he's on the Clippers and the Nets. I mean, those are so cool to me.
Oh, absolutely.
And that it's over. So I just want to hear, man, reflecting on the whole thing. I mean, I think for the biggest failures in NBA history. I mean, I want to hear what you think.
That's fair. I got my cat right here. How we doing? Say hi to everybody. She's got to get out. But yeah, definitely one of the bigger failures in NBA history. That's 100% fair. People will be like, "No, well, this happened." Well, what the things that have happened, like players getting traded, kind of factors into that all, and it's definitely been, rough. And it's like, oh, just when it just was about to be perfect, this happens or this happens. But in the end, it's been, as annoying as it's been fun at times. And I know it at times is a key term here because sometimes like the Tyler Johnson and, James Johnsons of the world playing significant minutes in big games. Yeah, not fun. But, there was some fun times in between. But yeah, definitely a huge failure. But I still, love the Nets. They're my team, so I'm still gonna root for them, cheer them on 100%, and keep giving my whole fandom. How could you not? I don't understand the whole the Stan thing. Stan stuff bothers me.
Me too. I mean, everyone knows with me.
Yeah, I know with you. Trust me, that's kind of why I brought it up. You are a Stan hater. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I am too. It's fine, but I don't understand moving with players and switching teams and just it's not fun. What's the fun in that? You're not supporting something consistently. You have to go through through the real lows to feel the real highs. That's kind of how I believe.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And this is, it's going to put you guys in a tough spot. Before we get into what the teams are going to look like, Dallas and Brooklyn, simple question, because Cavs fans would probably answer yes to this question overall. Celtics fans is a resounding no. Was it fun having Kyrie Irving on your team?
Yes, I would say so.
Wow.
I know all the issues. I know. But Kyrie Irving, let's be real about the Nets.
Okay.
The Nets have not had the greatest track record of great or fun basketball, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So it was really a breath of fresh air, especially after 4 awful seasons, and then 2 mediocre seasons where we're just straight up mid. ACD low Nets. They do cool bench dancing.
2019 seemed pretty fun though.
It was fun because it was also we're actually playing for something now. We're doing something, but it was also just mid. So you take it. But Kyrie, watching him on the court, I know all the stuff off the court sucked, but he played some of the most entertaining basketball you can ask for when he was out there. So I would say, I wish things would have went differently. I wish, he wouldn't have done this, but was it worth it having Kyrie Irving on the basketball team and watching him play when he did? Yes, because what was the alternative? D'Angelo Russell or Karis LeVert. And guess who I'm choosing? I'm choosing the 150 out of 290 of Kyrie over to 190 fully healthy, both of them combined. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's the alternative, between what we got.
Are you disappointed that KD chose Kyrie as the co-star to bring to Brooklyn? Or
I think
you couldn't have anticipated this?
I think it's kind of a switch. I think Kyrie brought KD.
Okay.
That's more than fair. So in that regard also, we do owe, Kyrie did also bring KD here. So we have KD because of him. And I think that's pretty well agreed upon in the Nets community that Kyrie did bring KD here. So
yeah, I've heard that as well. So I should have said it differently.
Yeah. So that also is a big thing. Even if KD leaves this offseason, Kyrie brought us whatever, five first-round picks and a bunch of assets. So I'm happy that, in a sense, Kyrie brought KD with him, and they ended up pairing up because, we would have had just solid role players instead. I'll choose them every single time. There was a tweet yesterday, what could have been D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie. Well, guess what? We got him back. And Jared Allen. And then they brought up Jared Dudley. I don't know what they were trying to prove with adding him and Rondé Hollis Jefferson. Love Rondé, but he's not in the league anymore. Either is Dudley, or Ed Davis. I don't know what. Yeah, but I would choose those two every single time. You ask me tomorrow, hey, you want that team back or you want KD and Kyrie again? But it's going to be a bunch of issues throughout. I'm choosing Kyrie and KD again.
Man. So looking back, final question about the whole Kyrie era in Brooklyn. I know you're probably mad, and Nets fans have an absolute right to be mad at Joe Tsai and Sean Marks. They totally fumbled this. It's going to be really hard now for stars going forward while this ownership is intact to want to come to Brooklyn after they fumbled this so hard. My question is this. First 2020-2021 season, Kyrie does some things where it seems like he is not putting the championship aspirations of the team first when he just left randomly. And then obviously with the COVID thing, people are saying, if you want to win a chip, you got to get vaccinated. It's going to help the team chemistry. What do you think the Nets fans' reaction is going to be when Kyrie comes back to Barclays? And do you think if they hate, it's warranted after all the things I just said?
Oh, yeah. He's going to get booed. I get it. Here's my thing too. I always like watching Kyrie play. I'm not a Kyrie fan anymore. Just kind of how that goes. That's how my fandom works with players. After you leave the Nets, it's oh man, I hope you do well, but
So no more Kyrie tweets on Brooklyn Netcast, huh?
I mean, probably here and there you'll get something because he's still tied in with the team's history, so we'll get stuff about Kyrie. But it's kind of the same thing with Harden. I don't tweet about James Harden anymore, and I don't tweet about.
Didn't you feel like he betrayed you guys? But now, James Harden's looked really good after all this. That's the problem. And I don't like James Harden, but that's the thing.
It's a fair point. Yeah,
writing on the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. I do I feel both ways. How they both could have Kyrie and Harden should have handled things differently. But like I said, I painted this as on my page. If you've seen the tweets, I put a majority of the blame on them too, in Josiah and Sean Marks, because do we see the consistent pattern? Like all the players being unhappy and all the players wanting out, and players' agents, not even the players, being unhappy with them. Like it seems like a common theme. So that's while good. I hope Harden does well. Hope Kyrie does well in the endeavors. I hope we smoke them when we play them. But I'm gonna pin it on Joe and Sean for the most part, because it's just been showed time and time again, and people have said things. And like I said, like Rodion's Kurucs. Like I know, do you remember him?
Of course,
it's been a little bit. He kind of hinted at the same thing, that they were shit at their jobs and were not competent. Not worthy of being owner and GM of an NBA team. So even like role players. So I
mean, I totally agree with all that. I think you're probably, I don't know the Nets fan base that well, but it seems like you might be on the nicer side with Kyrie. I think they're going to be ruthless.
Yeah, I'm not even like. I don't know. I after players leave, I just they're gone. Like it's whatever. Like kind of like with like Harden. Like for like a few weeks after, you say a few things, but like after it's like Harden's on another team. Right? Like I don't care. And like same thing with Kyrie now. Like I'll be like upset for like a week or two, but it's like he's on another team. And it's kind of how I've always moved about it with like players. Like they're not part of the team that I care about. I care about my team, and that's what I'm focused on. So. After, like 2 weeks, it's like, whatever. Kyrie's on a different team. You move on. Go Nets.
I'd be pretty mad. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm frustrated, of course. I mean, yeah.
Let's talk about the actual deal that was made. So Kyrie Irving gets traded to the Dallas Mavericks for Dorian Finney-Smith. Spencer Dinwiddie making his return to Brooklyn, where he was he had definitely his best tenure in his NBA career, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And then a couple of picks attached as well, first and second round, correct?
I think there was 3 second rounders.
And then no first rounders?
No, there's a first rounder too.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Did you like the return? Obviously, you're not going to get a second star, and that's why I said, honestly, the Nets I was saying the Nets should just chance it and just go and just let him walk if it's that in the offseason. Instead, you get a couple of role guys. What do you think of it?
I wanted Josh Green, by the way. So I love Josh Green. Josh Green better than Sadiq Bey. Also, I'm on that bandwagon.
I agree with that. That's a very random. Is that a thing? It's a very random comparison. Are they from the same draft?
Yeah,
no, they're
not.
The
same draft.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, like
Josh Green is more.
Ask Bibbs. I don't know, because like Bibbs talks about it all the time, and I follow
Bibbs needs to make his appearance on that.
He's tied me into it. So I'm like, shit. Like it's a big thing now. Like I gotta talk about it. Like,
but you get Finney-Smith, their best defender, probably.
I asked for him 5 days ago. That turned out interesting. I'm like, we really need Finney-Smith, everybody. Let's go get DFS. He'd be perfect for a Boston series. And, I guess we did get him, but, at the cost of Kyrie Irving. Yeah. I like the return because I'm looking at it from a lens of, I mean, obviously I wanted more. I'm happy we didn't get Christian Wood. I don't like Christian Wood at all. I don't know I know that everybody's very iffy on him, but I don't like Christian Wood. So I was happy we didn't get him. I hate Tim Hardaway Jr., absolute shot chucker. Thank God we didn't get Reggie Bullock. But to the point that I like Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie unfollowed me on Twitter, though. I did not appreciate that. I want my follow back. Yeah, after he got traded, I'm like, man, what are you doing here? Signing traded.
Once he sees the propaganda come back, he'll probably.
It's coming back. I want my follow back. But yeah, I like Dinwiddie. He just does some nice things. He's complimentary offensive scorer, shooting the ball really well this year. 40% from three. Makes some nice plays. He's jumping higher now. I don't know how that happened. He started dunking on people. This did not happen in Brooklyn. He had like one dunk in his whole Brooklyn tenure, maybe two. We'll give him 2 or so, but like I don't know how that happened. And he's not great defensively. He's a decent playmaker. He makes some smart reads, smart passes, also some boneheaded passes though. But he's still a decent playmaker and a nice complimentary piece. And then DFS, love his defense. I think the Nets are forming one of the best defensive cores in all of basketball, and I don't really think that's up for debate too much. It's a really good defensive team, and I'm hoping we flip the picks. That's kind of where I'm at with the picks. Flip them. Send them. Go somewhere.
This offseason or right now?
Right now.
Okay. So do you agree the championship chances are gone? Like, what are your expectations now for the season?
Like 85, 90%, yes. but you can go for it big time. I mean, like, we have like 4 first-round picks to work with. You have 8 second-round picks. You have, Cam. Like, I love Cam Thomas. Nice 44-point game last night. Totally cooked the Wizards. I know it's the Wizards, but like the Wizards also
playing decent basketball right now, though.
The Wizards also almost have a better record than the Hawks. Tell Alex that for me, will you?
He still has to make his appearance on Dime Dropper as well.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There's another one. But yeah, I mean, you could trade Cam, Seth, Joe. Even like Royce is on the table. Like, I love Royce though, but I really wouldn't like to move him. He's like one of them. He's got 4-game winners this season.
He's been good.
He's been really good. Yeah, I mean, defense, they ask him to play point of attack, and he looks bad doing it because he's not a point of attack defender. So, of course, he looks bad doing it. So,
but now you have one.
Yes, now we have one. We haven't had one in God, when's the last time we had a point of attack defender that we let play point of attack?
It seems like you guys actually have exactly what you were missing last season in that way. You got some length and width, length and wings added to the roster.
Yeah, we're gonna have like the biggest starting 5 in basketball. Probably
It's gonna be Dorian Finney-Smith, KD, Claxton, Spencer.
Maybe. Oh yeah, I guess it would be like I'm gonna flip between starting Ben, Spence, and Royce, or Dinwiddie, Royce, and DFS. How I want to play that, I'm not sure. We'll see how the Nets do it. But like we're gonna have a very large starting 5.
What's your so let's say, given that this trade was made, I'm guessing you like the Dallas package better than the ones that were out there from like the Lakers, us,
I hated the Clippers package. I'm sorry. Lakers was awful too. But they're like, we'll give you you can get like Rocco and Reggie Jackson. I'm like, wait a minute. What? Well, Terrence Mann. But I'm like,
Terrence. Well, at least Terrence Mann, anybody would be lucky to have him. But Dorian Finney-Smith is great.
Yeah, I like Terrence Mann.
I agree, though. If I'm the Nets, I wouldn't want to trade with the Clippers either.
We have Joe Harris and Seth Curry and like Patty. We don't want more guys that just shoot the basketball. I like Luke Kennard too, but literally the man just kind of shoots the basketball. So it's
Okay, so you're happy with the package.
I would have offered ones. I would have liked another first instead of the seconds. That's kind of what I was, would have upset about. But I would have liked Dinwiddie, Smith, 2 first, flip the 2 first. Then you got like a shit ton of picks, and you can get almost anybody. Like you could, I saw a Siakam comment. We won't get him because now we don't have enough. But if you threw 4 first of other teams first, by the way, then you at least had a shot at it. Now you don't with 3. So yeah, it was kind of my iffiness.
I'm guessing that the reason why they didn't take certain other packages that were more centered around draft picks was because they likely, I would assume, had a conversation with KD that he's going to ride this out to the end of the season and they'll reevaluate where they're at after the season. Would it shock you if he asked for a trade in the next couple of days?
Yeah.
Would you feel betrayed?
I'd feel understanding, but like, damn, like give it like till the end of the season. You're under contract. He's a bit different. He is under contract. I feel differently about that. When the team really wants you, your general manager and owner actually want you to be on the team. It's a bit different. So like it is different from like the Harden and Kyrie thing where it's you have a contract for like 3 more years or 2.5 seasons, I guess. So I would feel betrayed that way more because he's gonna get his freaking money. So it's not about money and contracts. It's like,
and you guys have given him everything he wants.
Well, we got to give him something.
Besides Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. Like who would be the number 2 that you think the Nets should throw everything at? Because they have a lot to work with. I mean, 3 you could throw like 3 first, a bunch of seconds.
I see a comment about Pascal Siakam that he's proven it as a number 2 guy.
Yeah, like if he had another first, I feel like like Raptors are taking 4 first from no doubt. But like we need another first. And I'm not trading a 2028 Nets first. It's not happening. Not happening. Not doing it. I don't care if it is Kevin. Like, you have Kevin. I don't care. We're not going farther back that way with no picks. It's too far already.
So what do you think about okay, so you said you'd be shocked if Kevin Durant requested a trade. If KD ends this season with, just a bunch of role players, man, I'm honestly going to gain a lot of respect for him because, this is the twilight of his prime. I know he seems to be getting better, but I don't know how many great years he's going to have left at his age.
Yeah. Well,
but it's kind of a wasted year for him in an attempt at a title when he's playing such great basketball. What's your ceiling? What'd you say?
I want to get the number 2.
You want us to get number 2 seed? Okay.
No, unless we get a number two. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you get a number 2. But let's say you don't and you ride this squad in the playoffs. What's your expectation? Like, what would make you happy just to win a series?
Yeah. Yeah. I think like seeding does matter here. Like, where do we finish up?
Of course it does.
Like if we play, you know, who the hell is going to be the 6th seed? Who do you think will be the 6th seed of the East?
Before the season, I said it was going to be the Cavs.
Okay.
It's either going to be the Cavs or the Heat, I'd say, but it could be you now.
Yeah. See, there's a lot up in there. See, if we like play the Cavs, like you can beat the Cavaliers. Like I like the Cavaliers.
KD would have to play insane to me to beat the Cavs now. With that, they have so much talent.
Yeah, but they do have significant holes in their roster too. So it's like
the wing defenders.
They got none of them. They just don't exist. Like
Isaac Okoro.
I hate Isaac Okoro, man. It's the him and Karis LeVert. If you combine their skill sets, man, they'd be something. I'll tell you. But you can't combine.
No doubt.
Two.
Be a great player.
Yeah, but they're exact opposites. So it's like, offense, defense, and then there's Kevin Love, who might be the worst defender in basketball now.
Really, you go that far?
Yo, he's awful. I mean, even
he actually
back me up. Like he's been awful this year, and like offensively, like sometimes he gets hot, but other times he's in the shot chucking category as well, where it's like we know you're Kevin Love, but you're also like, how old's Kevin Love now? Like what, 35?
Something like that.
Yeah, so like sometimes it's like it's not it, and then like it's Lamar Stevens. Like, come on, I understand the top 4 there, but if you're like a really good 9-man rotation, you should beat the Cavaliers. Is kind of how I feel about them.
Okay, so we'll see what happens to the matchups. Last thing before we end it out, man, we got to talk about how it is for Dallas. You get Kyrie Irving now. Luka finally has his second star. My thing is this. I have a big conviction in basketball. If your 2 best players do not guard or are not interested in guarding consistently, you're not going to win a championship. We've never seen the 2 best players on a team that won the championship not be decent at defense. You obviously watch Kyrie Irving every night, so you can talk to me more about his defense and his effort. To me, Kyrie's not a bad defender when he tries. He's decent when he tries.
There you go.
But it's a matter of what mood he's in. And sometimes when he's not hitting shots like in the playoffs last year, he kind of got discouraged, and it just looked like he was kind of going through the motions a little bit. Luka, this season, when I watch him, he hasn't played a lick of defense. Last season, he was a little different.
Tired, man. I got to tell you. I gave him a little bit of slack.
Yeah, because he got nobody on offense. But now you have somebody to take a little bit of that pressure on you on offense. You can rest a little bit. I think in the half court, it's going to be very similar to how LeBron and Kyrie were, where it's going to be kind of take turnsy. But they can also run some sets with Kyrie coming off the ball and stuff where Luka can hit him in the pocket and stuff like that. And also what would be lethal is have Luka post up and Kyrie one pass away. And even Kyrie as a screen setter for Luka. I mean, there's a lot of options here. They're going to make them a little more creative. I think their offense is going to be a lot better. I think it's going to be a solid fit, kind of like LeBron and Kyrie.
Is a fair question.
What'd you say?
Jason Kidd has to actually draw up plays too. That would be important. I've seen all the Jason Kidd slander. Like I said, shout out Bibbs. I've seen everything Dallas related this year. Yeah, Jason Kidd has been pretty awful even when I've watched him. I mean, I can't.
High pick and roll, man.
Yeah,
it's always going to be Luka high pick and roll.
Yeah, I like the trio of offense or even like I like Josh Green. I've said that before. Obviously earlier in the pod, but I like Christian Wood as an offensive piece for them. I did not want him on the Nets. Tim Hardaway Jr., when he's hot, cool. He's usually not hot, though, so that is kind of an issue. And defensively, Reggie Bullock, man, he better start.
Josh Green, you talked about him earlier, man. I think his stock went through the roof now for his team. Like, he's invaluable now. He's going to get playing time a lot.
Yes.
But losing your best point of attack defender, man, I'm looking at it as a Clipper fan. If we play Dallas again, Dorian Finney-Smith already struggled with Kawhi. What the fuck are they going to do now? But now we have another issue. Two guys now that can play like that. To me, here's my honest opinion. This season is not for the Mavs can't win a championship this year. Their roster's not good enough.
Unless they make another move, which
right. They got to, in my opinion. Yeah, and they could not be done at the deadline. You're right. Especially with like guys like OG floating out there and stuff. That would be a perfect replacement.
I don't think they can get OG personally. I don't think they have. Is that fair? Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the Raptors would do that. But point is, I don't think that the Mavs can win the championship this year. Their 2 best players don't really guard. They don't have enough defenders to offset that. And that's what I think they're going to have to do in the offseason. So this season, make a little noise, show everybody that this team is going to be dangerous. Now Luka has a second star. You go into the offseason and just get a bunch of role players that guard. Yeah, and then you run it, and then you really come out with a title charge in the 2023-24 season. And now you've gained Luka's trust. You got a star for him, a guy that's a proven number 2 option on a championship team.
Yeah.
Now, one of my friends said this. This is the first time Kyrie Irving's playing with someone better than him that's younger than him. Do you think he's going to be okay with that? Yeah. Or do you think he's going to be like, you know, brother, you were watching me back when I was like, when I won a championship, you were probably watching me like as a 15-year-old kid, like going through puberty. Like, do you think he's going to demand a little too much?
15-year-old Luka is still better than Reggie Bullock. So, you know, he was still a bucket then. I think they'll be fine. I really do. I think the Kyrie stuff, chemistry-wise, is overblown. His teammates love him. Like, that's another thing, too, I like to point out.
Except for Harden?
Well, yeah, but, you know, Harden doesn't like a lot of players, so I don't really.
And a lot of people don't really like playing with Harden either.
Yeah, so that's kind of my thing. But, like, 95% of players like playing with Kyrie, love Kyrie as his teammate. You know, it's all the, you know, best friend, brothers, you know, whatever. So I don't think that'll be an issue. But, yeah, I just think about it this way. Can they beat Denver? No, Denver would dog walk them in a playoff series. As Denver would dog walk almost anybody in a playoff series, I feel, outside of, like, Boston right now. And maybe, you know, the Bucks give them some troubles because the rim protection is kind of, you know, iffy. But, like, yeah, like they won't contend for a championship, really. Maybe they can win. They'll win a playoff series, I think. That's fair.
They may. It all depends on who they match up with.
Also, like, they could literally match up with Denver. So, like,
yeah.
You know,
and you got about 20 games to get this going. You know what I mean? You don't have that much time to work Kyrie in.
Yeah, if they played, like, Denver would probably 4-2 them. Like, I give Kyrie and Luka the benefit of the doubt for 2 games that they could make something crazy happen because, you know, they're magical players. But, like, when it comes down to it, you run into a complete team or Memphis. Even though I don't think Memphis has the capability of, I know they're, like, good defensively and all, but, like, I don't know, like, what, you're gonna put Ja on Kyrie? And you're going to put, like, Brandon Clark out there or, you know, what's his name? Aldama out there sometimes. And, like, it's just going to be nightmarish. Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't match up well defensively, relatively speaking. I know he's a great defender, so he can still do some things. But, like, you know, like, Memphis would beat them, Denver. So, like, yeah, I mean, Golden State, who the hell knows what's going to happen with them? Man,
yeah.
I mean,
especially with the news now that Curry's out for a little bit longer. So
Clippers would be great, though. It'd be Clippers Mavs, actually. I'm praying for that. That would be the hell of a first round.
Round 3?
No, first round. We're going first round.
No, I'm saying round 3 of us playing them in the first round.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think you guys would win.
Bro, I don't know. Playing Luka in the first round with Kyrie Irving is very scary, man. I don't know. It was already tough enough with just Luka. Now it's going to be tough. Again, it's really about how much their defense really falls off. This season, they've fallen off on defense already. They're in the bottom half of the league, but they're not bottom 10 or anything like that. We'll see if this move puts them there. My question is this, the final question. Was it worth it for Dallas knowing that Kyrie's a free agent? In my opinion, it was worth it because now you have about a month and a half plus the playoffs to basically show Kyrie Irving you should be here. You have a chance to win a championship for the next 3-4 years of your prime with the best young player in the game probably, and soon to be could be the best player in the league in a couple of years. You have an amazing opportunity here, but we'll see what Kyrie wants. Is his number one priority even winning championships, or is it just to be happy where he feels?
Also, if he messes this up, it's kind of the nail in the coffin on the narratives against him. I mean, it almost is, but, like, if he like screws this up in the way, I don't think he will, but, like, God forbid he did, that would really be like, oh shit, like, definitely never trusting him. Like, that would kind of how it would look for him around the league. So I don't think he messes this up. I think he realizes this is a last chance kind of thing to switch the narratives on him. But yeah, like, I do feel bad because, like, I know, like, they're gonna, Dallas can turn it around a little bit, but when you run into a complete team, yeah, it's worth it though. Like, what were you gonna do? Run it up on Denver in the first round after winning a play-in game? And, you know, win a game or so. Like,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Is their alternative if they had kept the team together was they're making it to the second round and losing max. Like, it would be shocking for me. I've been saying it all year. It would be shocking if they made it. What'd you say?
They would make the second round.
You don't even think so? See, the thing is, I I still don't know because Luka's so good. Like he can beat a first-round team potentially, depending on who they are.
Well, they'd
But
probably be like the 8th seed though, right? So like that's my thing is like if you're
right now
playing,
they're the 5 seed.
are they up to 5 now? I mean, it's fluctuated. They were literally just 8th a few days
They
ago.
were 4 last night before we beat the Knicks, but now they're 5 again.
Up to 5
But
now?
I predicted Dallas finishing 4th this season before the season started. So I think they'll finish in the playoff, but not the play-in. But the point is we're past the second-round team with the guys that they had to me.
So now
So
they are. Yeah.
then now they're probably not either. Maybe they can go to the conference finals, but the thing is, you got a second star. If you go to the offseason, or as you said, make a move now, get the role players that guard, you have a chance to winning a championship. Then the conversation becomes, can 2 players that aren't too big on defense win a championship, which makes me ask the final question. Kyrie Irving defensively. That's what everyone's going to be talking about. 2 players that don't really guard. Give me your thoughts on on Kyrie on D.
When he tries, he can lock in. But I mean, he's not like a lockdown defender by any means. But he can body up. He'll give you his all. He'll pick your pocket a bit. When he gets in your pocket, you can tell players getting a little bit questionable. Like, oh shit, like he's got like 2 steals on me. I don't know how I feel about this. But there's really no defensive help there to cut. Like it did help in Brooklyn having like as much as people hate Ben Simmons, guess what? He's still really good at the whole defense thing. And like Nick Claxton's been like Depoy caliber, and KD's been really good, and you have help there. So it does ease the troubles a little bit there. I don't know how it works.
That's 2 guys teams going to try to target. The best team's going to try to target either of those 2 guys in crunch time of games. I already know the pick and roll.
I would target all 4 or 5 players out on the court there. Maybe like I might not target like Reggie Bullock, I guess. And like
or Josh Green. Those guys can guard.
They can guard, and I'm still not scared to go at them, though. That's kind of the thing. Like, there's not a single player in the roster I'm like, oh, no, like defense. Like
this guy's guarding me. I got to pass the ball.
Yeah, it's like I'm running right through you. Like if like say I'm even like Andrew Wiggins, like I am attacking every like Andrew Wiggins is a
strong guy.
Yeah, like if I'm like a bigger wing like that, I'm saying like screw you. I'm going after you, and who's your rim protection? Christian Wood. Guess what? I'm dunking on him. And like, or Dwight Powell. Oh no, Dwight Powell. I don't care. Like,
so you'd still make the move if you're the Dallas, though. You think it's a good move?
Oh, you have to. I mean, the alternative was garbage too, and like you got him for a lower value. Like this is the lowest value you're going to be able to get a star for. Like there was nothing close. Like unless you want to give it 4 firsts, but they don't have. So yeah.
And my last words too are: this is a big test for Luka, man. Everybody's been saying Luka needs to play without the ball a little more. And the defense was, well, who did he have to trust? Well, now you got a guy that's a one-man highlight reel, one of the most skilled players with the ball in his hands in terms of scoring that we've ever seen in the game. And that's coming from someone like me who watches every fucking era.
Most skilled player of all time.
Skilled. What'd you say?
The most skilled player of all time. Yeah.
Wow. He's up there for sure. I've heard people say that.
Top 3. I'll give him top 3, and you can argue it,
Yeah. And then, so it's going to be fun. No excuses now in terms of not having help on offense. He's got some help now, Luka. I'm so excited to see how much he plays off the ball, what it's going to look like. As I said, I think it's going to be very take-turnsy in ways. But when you can take turns with one is Luka and one Kyrie creating a shot, it's not bad.
No.
Caleb, man, appreciate you so much for coming on. Let the people know where they can find you. The link to your stuff will be in the description, but let them know verbally as well.
Well, I would just if I'm you guys, I would go to Twitter, look up Brooklyn Netcast, and then there will be a Linktree link in the bio, and you can find everything there, like our YouTube channel, our Instagram, our podcast, our website's in the works. I decided I wanted to revamp it, so give it some time, but that will be back up too. And also go check out. I had an interview with Etuan Thomas from
Thomas, the former Wizard.
Yeah. He interviewed me. It was really backwards. It felt like I was like, "Oh, I'm getting interviewed."
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not super comfortable with this, but he was talking to me about the Kyrie stuff, which obviously, wrote the article at the right time. He wrote it finished it like 6 hours before the trade. But check that out because I did retweet that. He's a great guy, and it was a great interview. So check that out and check out all the pages. And I appreciate you for having me on. It was much needed. It's kind of let me get everything out, how I feel about everything, my take on everything, and I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Make sure you guys follow him. You already know, guys. Comment your thoughts on the Kyrie trade. Who do you think are the big winners and losers? What do you think it does for Dallas and Brooklyn? You already know the deal. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Love doing some videos that aren't always Clipper related. Clippers and Nets. We're going to be live tomorrow night on Dime Dropper. post game. Peace and have a good night. And also, forgot to mention this as we end 50 minutes on the dot. Dallas Mavericks, LA Clippers, Kyrie Irving's first game debut vlog on Wednesday night from Staples Center. Make sure you guys tune in. Peace.